Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is True Hill Heat. And I said it right, you motherfuckers. All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast poor, you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Ready when you are.
Hey guys, I may have go away heat, but these guys have true heel heat. So you better listen to the podcast or else I'm gonna kick you in your fucking cock and balls.
I'll get it.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
It is so hard to say goodbye to Monet. Da-na-na-na-na. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, True Hill Heat Facebook, as well as Romeo's Twitter for our Power Book 2 Ghosts Season 4, Episode 9, Married to the Motherfucking Game. And it happened, y'all. We've been asking for it all season long. We was like, this is the final season, the final episodes. We need someone big to go out. And boy, oh boy, did they hit us on the penultimate episode. No, I am not here with the usual suspect, Miss Chrissy Love, who has joined me for a majority of season 4. I am coming with a special guest this week, someone I've been saying for weeks we needed to have here on this review show. So we chose the perfect time when Chrissy Love is officiating a wedding to bring him on. You've heard his great thoughts and his knowledge on professional wrestling over on the Wrestling's podcast numerous times and his great shows over there. But he is also a very big Power fan. We chopped it up for a good hour waiting online in the heat ahead of Rev Pro Summer Sizzle talking about all the books of Power, and he is with us today. It is the main man, Knowledge. How are you doing?
I'm good. What an introduction. I feel like I've really got to do my best to live up to that. My goodness. I feel like really important. Thank you very much, SP3. It was bloody hot that day, wasn't it, when we were in line? Oh my God,
I was drenched.
Yeah,
I literally had to leave you from the balcony because the balcony was just as hot as us standing on the line. It was just as hot out on the balcony. I had to sit down on the floor because it was cooler there than it was.
Yeah, it was hot up there too. It was a great conversation, real good conversation. And what an episode for me to come on for. It's monumental, historic.
Yes, I was like, man, I told you before we went live here, I was like, this may have been my favorite episode and the best episode of season 4 so far. Like, it hit you hard, and I literally sent the picture to like my group chat that we talk about Power with, and we have rules in our group chat. We can't spoil anything until everybody watches. until everybody watches the episode. But all I did was I just sent the picture of them with me like almost in tears at the end of this episode. Because that last scene got me. I was like, no, not like this.
Really?
I've been wanting this, but not like this.
Yeah, I already knew what had happened, unfortunately, so I never really got that experience. I never got any of that. I knew what was going to happen. Just so everyone knows, like all the people that are watching this, my power experience was spoiled. I'm in a group chat with loads of people, and all of a sudden, someone is sends into there, Monet's dead. Just randomly, Monet's dead. It wasn't no spoiler alert. It wasn't anything like that. It's just Monet's dead. I hadn't even watched the episode. On Fridays, I usually wait till work's finished, dinner's eaten, my son's on his PlayStation. I can sit down and I can relax and watch my power episode. But no, this little cunt fucking support my experience, and now he's not. He's a nice guy, but I felt like that day. But
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Just ruined my experience. So throughout the whole episode, I know she's gonna. I know. I'm just waiting. And when it happened, I felt a way about it. But at the same time, I was like, man, I wonder if that would have come out of nowhere. I would love to know how I would have felt watching that, But no, see, you got upset, or not upset, but you felt it was a shock, I'm sure. But geez, like, what an episode to get spoiled. But it was a cracking episode. And next week, we are one episode away. Then it's over.
It's all over. It's all
what are we
over.
gonna do?
It does not feel like it should be over. Like, oh my God, like not like this. But yes, we are here to talk about Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4, Episode 9, Married to the Game. We appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your Power Universe friends, fans, and family. I even hit up my mother after watching this episode because my mother's into Power. I'm gonna read out the message that she sent me when we're done with all the usual things we have to do here. But share it with your family, share it with your friends, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. This was such a big episode of Power that we pushed aside the football watch-alongs because we had to do the review today to get it all done and over with. But we got to get ready for the last episode. So we got one more Ghost Season 4 Episode 2 review here on the channel. So a great time to hit the subscribe button and sound off in the live chat if you're with us live. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode here. But we got already a couple of people in the chat with us today, like Ace, who says, what's up, SP3 and Knowledge? He says, Monet went out big. Monet out. That's way possible. Like they've built it up to this the whole season with the callbacks, with her being, visited by Mecca and Lorenz at the beginning of the season after she got shot by Tasha, and then all the flashbacks of her different relationship with her kids and putting her kids being a horrible mother since she was young. So.
The worst mother. Absolutely.
Oh, man. She was like literally the first half of this season. I was like, she may be the worst mother in the history of Power. In Power, it's just known for horrible mothers. It's just known for horrible mothers.
Yeah.
But she may have been the worst. But to go out the way she did, I was like, at the end of the episode, I was like, man, she may be the best mother in Power.
every Power book has got their own horrendous mother that they've all competing with, I suppose, and every single one of them. She's definitely, I don't know. She was, she might have been. No, I think Raquel would have done the same for Kanan. I think Raquel would have done the same for Kanan. Kate Egan wouldn't though. I think Kate Egan would have let Tony take
Kate Egan is the worst. Kate Egan, and then maybe Effie's mom. Maybe Effie's mom is up there as well.
Yeah, Effie's mom would have let her take 2 bullets, let alone 1. Where does that come from? We saw her, and then we just didn't see her again. I don't know. Anyway, we'll discuss.
Power Driver finisher says she went out big, but it was corny as fuck the way she was shot. I mean, the CGI or the effects on the shooting weren't the best, but it was emotional.
It was
It was
emotional.
fabulous. Do you remember the way Queen Latifah got shot in Set It Off? And
Yes.
the arms, it was like that's what happened with Monet, unfortunately. It was giving me Set It Off vibes, like, you know. It was awesome, dude. It was awesome.
Oh, I loved it. I loved
Kane's
it.
like,
We gotta.
wait.
Oh, Cortine saying if Monet didn't do what she did, then we would have lost Kane. And man, I've been against Kane since like season one because I was like he a hater. He's too obsessed with Tariq. But I've been saying that this season, with him being less obsessed with Tariq,
Tariq, yeah.
he's honestly really grown on me. And where I'm like, I would not mind if he was the one to get the spinoff.
Yeah, and he's also got this thing with Effie where he seems to care about her. So we're seeing a bit of vulnerability in him as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack.
A lot to unpack for sure. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, thought the whole thing, she cool, calm, collected. They shoot Kane and she starts breathing heavy. I laughed my ass off. Yeah, she got emotional. She was like, nah, I can't let them take out my baby. After he like basically chose Monet over Noma.
Yeah,
Like that
he
whole
did.
speech, that was some of the best acting that Woody McLean has done in Power, was his whole speech at the end.
At the end, yeah, that was great.
Loved it. And then he's saying that what I said is Kane chose Monet over Noma. So yes, let's get into it. Knowledge here. So the big A plot of this episode, of course, was the marriage of Noma and Kane. So they basically did like a montage and seeing all the Tejada family being messaged by Kane, asking if they're coming to his wedding. They even got the cousin is back. The cousin is back at the house. On Janet is there. She's hanging out with the family. She's there for the wedding. We see Kane getting his suit ready. We see Noma getting her dress ready for like this family dinner where we're gonna meet the two families for Noma and for Kane. We finally meet Noma's brother, which was talked about by Anya previously, where she talked about how she always goes to visit our brother in Nigeria. She never takes Anya with them. And it seems like the brother is involved, or probably the supplier for her drug business. The way that everything has been kind of alluded and put together. What did you think about their dynamic in this episode? Like, first with them talking at Kane's loft, and it just seemed like he's like kind of saying that this whole wedding is kind of sus. He's like, though Lombardi just got shot, Lombardi was killed, you just got over that, and now you're quickly getting into this marriage here. So he was even given the Nigerian, I don't know how to do it, but the sucking of the teeth, it just, I was like, that's so Nigerian.
Oh, we do that. We go,
Yeah.
like that. We can do that. We're Jamaicans, so we can do that easy. We learn that before we can speak. We're at nursery when we do that. But yeah, I mean, I will say this because the way they introduce characters in Power, it feels like we've already been introduced to them previously. So he pops up, and then we hear the name. We're like, oh, it's that geezer. So it's like
Yes.
we already seem to know something about them anyway. So it's like they just immediately just continue where they need to go. And this episode was like, I think all the Ghost episodes are like on steroids anyway. But this episode, they had a lot to get through, so it was faster paced than usual. And so as soon as we see him, we understand that he's not sure about any of this. He's not confident in it, and he also is like, "What's going on here? Who's this guy?" He's all of a sudden he's like, "What's the story here?" You know. But we kind of gather that I got the feeling that he was the guy that was in charge, really, and
Yeah.
that's the impression that I got. I mean, obviously Noma's Noma, but she seemed to be backtracking when speaking to him. She wasn't her regular. She wasn't Noma the way she speaks to everyone else when she was talking to her brother. That's what I thought anyway.
No, I agree with you. It was very much like she was kind of like the number two, and we got more of that when all the family got there. You get Monet, Drew, and Diana. They show up at the apartment to kind of do this whole meetup, this whole family dinner, and we have a Tejada family dinner, which never goes right. Never
This one
goes
actually
right.
wasn't that bad
in
compared to the others.
in comparison to the last two, where Diana's let all the family secrets out, and then Diana was exposed as being the person who gave the letter to Tasha Saint or Tommy
Kate.
Tasha's whereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a little bit better, but it was kind of exposed that Monet has a history with Mecca to the brother, and he's like, oh, Mecca. And then they also let it be known that Kane doesn't own the loft that he's staying at, and that it was supposed to be shared between him and Drew. Drew was being a little bitch, just
I thought that was so unnecessary. I thought that was so unnecessary. Like, just let this guy live and let him pretend that it's his. Oh well, he kicked me out. That don't make him look bad. That makes you look like a cunt, really. I mean, if you want to fucking just sit there and he kicked me out, so stop complaining about it. I mean, But I thought to myself, and then he's kicked out, and Monet's like, I remember I let you live here, and it's just like, let's give him something here. He's meeting his in-laws, for crying out loud. Imagine if that was you and you told everyone, I got this. Then your family just blow up your spot like that, and you're sitting there basically looking like a pauper now. It's like, my goodness.
Just making them all look bad. Like, goddamn. Then that whole thing. I love the little tension between Anya and Diana, where they don't really know why they should have a lot of tension between each other, because y'all both been with the same sausage, been sharing the same sausages around these streets. But
remind me, have they met each other before?
No, this is their first time.
Okay, I wasn't sure. If they'd actually, if Diana had actually seen her, but yeah. I was confused about that, because I was like, okay, I know she probably doesn't know, but they must have seen each other. But all right, thanks for clearing that up for me.
Yeah, I think if Kane wasn't worried about kind of making it look good or making their whole thing look all right, he's the only one that knows that they have basically been with Tariq. So if he wasn't worried about making everything look legit for Ice with his wedding and stuff like that and keeping everything together, he could have been the one that just let them know, like, oh, don't y'all both know Tariq? He could have said that when it was like, oh, how Monet and Noma both, were with Mecca. He could have been like, well, y'all two were both with Tariq. He could have been that guy.
Jesus, like, how Southern. Anyway.
But they had the little tension because she was like talking down about the bar in Queens, saying that Anya was like, oh, it's a dive bar, and because Kane was like, oh, I own the business, it's a family business and whatnot, and he's been he respects Noma and he's been working for her and he appreciates the business that she's created, and then the brother's like, well, that's a family enterprise itself, like, oh. And then Monet just gonna say, man, you don't even know this bitch.
I tell you what did amuse me was when Noma said that they owned a bistro. She said a bistro, and I remember thinking, they own a bistro, and then the daughter Anya was like, oh, it's a dive bar. I was like, that fucking bar is a dive, actually. How can it lie and say it's a bistro? What kind of shit is that?
And that's when Diana got upset. She's like, no, we grew that business from the ground up. Man, you use drug money. What are you talking about?
I've never seen anyone in there. I don't think I've ever seen it open.
I've only seen it shot up and y'all do drug deals there. That's it.
Yeah, I've never seen real customers go in and order a drink, or let alone if it's a bistro. I've never seen anyone order a stand. I've never seen anyone in there. I've seen workmen in there and, the odd party, but that's not open for business. That's just that's a front for everyone. A front for a drug. You imagine being a police officer and looking at the Tejadas and being just sitting outside that dive bar. You will literally see all sorts going there throughout the day. Just sit there and camp outside. You will see everyone and his mum going in there, getting up to no good.
We're the Gaudis of the ghetto, as Anya called them last episode. The Gaudis of the ghetto. So this leads to Kane basically taking his mom to his back little office and saying like, why you gotta make me look bad and stuff like that. But it leads to a great touching moment, like the first ever touching moment that we've gotten between Monet and Kane, where she's like, you know, you were a good son, and you know, I never told you that before. And Kane was like, oh, no, yeah, you never told me that. Just say it again. He was like, you stepped up when you didn't have to. You were just a kid when Lorenzo got locked up, but you stepped up for the family and you took a leadership role, and I appreciate you for that. So if this is what you want to do, you know, you have my support. And I was like, that was my first clue. I was like, this is too nice for power. This is too nice of a moment. And I was like, something's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen here.
Okay. Now, if I didn't know that she was going to die, do you remember the last episode of book 3, season 2, when do you remember the episode when Marvin got shot in the stairwell? All right. Throughout that episode, I felt they were giving us hints that Marvin was going to die. Do you remember he made up with Jukebox, and he made up with he was having some really nice moments with Raquel and everything like that. So I remember thinking, oh man, this guy's going to die, and this guy is going to die. And then he got shot, but then he didn't die. So if I would have been watching this, not knowing that Monet had actually got killed in that episode, I'd probably think that it was a red herring again, just like they did with Marvin, because I would have seen that and be like, nah, she's going to be all right. She's going to be all right. But the thing that killed me the most is when Kane legitimately said, we turned out all right. I was like, you're all fucking serial killers.
And then he turned back. He was like, well, I'm all right.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, the opposite of all right. You know what? It's crazy. You watch these shows, all right, and you do not understand how much people each individual person is actually murdered throughout the whole. If you added up the amount of people that Kanan Starks, for example, has killed throughout the whole, or even Tommy, throughout, you're in double digits, like way far out. And a serial killer is someone who's killed 3 or more. You know, Kane has killed loads. Even Drew's killed multiple people, like dozens probably. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, Kane. I said it last week. I was like, Kane been killing people since episode 1.
Episode 1. Yeah, literally episode 1. And Drew wasn't far off from that either, like.
Yeah, so it was a nice little moment. He said, you know, we turned out all right. Well, at least I did. You know, Drew's a little soft, and Diana's a little crazy, but we'll be all right. And then Drew and Diana came in. You had Drew going back and forth with Kane, where Kane's like, "Oh, you working with a dirty cop and stuff," and he's coming back at him. He was like, "You got any more buildings you want to steal with Noma from me and stuff?" But eventually, Monet's like, "All right, stop. Like, y'all need to go. Y'all need to meet up with your cousins. You know, the bar is ready. Y'all can have your little bachelor party and stuff like that." So they're off. Then Monet walks out and she meets up with Noma, and Noma wants to, you know, make things good with her, or seemingly wants to make things good with her, where she's like, you know, what can I do to kind of make this relationship right? And she was like, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want anything to do with the business. I just want to make sure that me and my family is taken care of. And she was like, how can I do that? She was like, money, and lots of it. And I was just like, of course it's gonna be drugs then. Like you do want the business. Like, what are you talking about? So she gives her a key to an abandoned amusement park in Staten Island. And I was like the first red herring, because before that we saw Tariq, and Tariq came back to his room, and Braden was there being a simp, looking at his phone at pictures of Elle, because he broke up with Elle last week. And I was just like, Don't you know that this chick is gonna probably snitch on him? Like, I think they're waiting for the last episode. Episode, Braden's gonna help with Tariq with his whole Don Carter problem, and then he gonna get back to the door, and he gonna get arrested.
And he's gonna get arrested. That I'm sorry to go back in time, but that whole thing that last episode was absolutely ridiculous. He killed the drug dealer, and he goes to this woman, a regular civilian. This isn't Effie or Diana who you can say this freely and they just go, oh, cool. Then they just move on and start, you know, get the phone out and start ordering food or whatever. He says you don't have to worry about him anymore, like some chivalrous gentleman. And of course, you can't say that to a regular. Also, another thing, why am I supposed to care about this relationship that he's got with this woman? I mean, I don't like her. I think she's caused nothing but friction. she's got no redeeming qualities about her whatsoever. Oh, she's got sickle cell. Don't care. Everyone's got problems. And it's just like I don't care about any of this. And he's sitting there. I'm just like, you need to go now as well, Brain. I've had enough of this because, like, it's absolutely ridiculous. But before I forget, did you notice throughout the whole conversation that Noma was having with Monet, she was holding the key the whole time?
Yes.
She was holding the key. She didn't go, oh, wait there like a regular person. Let me go. I just got this random key for this amusement park in my hand right here. Just hold on to it, for no reason. Oh, luckily I've got it right here. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, as soon as she said that, we were like, oh, Staten Island amusement park, right? Something's going on here. Something's going on.
Yeah. Because when Tariq, because the first scene we saw Tariq, it was him, Diana, Effie were all taking a test in the classroom. That's when Effie gets an email saying that she's been accepted to the robot program at Stanford in California, so she could do her robot shit, as Kane says. And then Tariq, they're taking the test, and Diana just walks out because her head's not in the right place because she's all distraught after killing Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Fuck that bitch.
I'm surprised that they can even go to school and study with the amount of activity these lot are going on. They live the most action-packed lives, and I always forget that they're at Stansfield University, all of them. And I see them in a classroom once an episode. Oh yeah, they're students.
Well,
they read books and write essays.
This is how you can tell this was a rush process, because you would think that the end of this series, especially if there's going to be like a spinoff from this, would be them graduating.
Yeah. Good point. Well, they've been there for 4 years now. They've been there 4 years. That's a good point. I never even thought of that. Yeah. Where's going on here?
It's been 4 seasons. Y'all should be graduated by now, but hey, to each his own, I guess. But yeah, so she walks out of there, and then that's when Tariq goes to his room, meets up with Brayden. Then he gets a call from Don Carter, who says that he needs Tariq to go take care of something for him. There's a dealer who's selling out of amusement park in Staten Island, so he needs him to go get a name. He tells him to go on his own, don't bring anyone, and take care of this for me. And Tariq is just like, all right, nigga. He's like, he's talking all saucy and shit, and Don Carter's like, yo, you gonna do this for me. So that's when we get that leads to Tariq and Monet both having to go to Staten Island. Then we go over to that was really the B plot, which I just wanted to address this, that why did it feel like Tariq was a side character in this episode on what's supposed to be his show?
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good
point.
He
was not. This was the first time that I can legit say Tariq had nothing to do with the A plot of this show. Like, he was definitely the B plot, which they tried to kind of connect the two plots together with the ending, but he was really like a side character because he wasn't really involved with what was the climax of this episode.
Yeah, good point. He was Monet. It's all about Monet, though, isn't it? So I can understand the whole. We'll get onto it. I've got a few things to say about Tariq and Carter. That thing that happened. But anyway, sorry.
Oh, don't get me started. I can't wait for that. But
mate,
we go to Cade's bachelor party, which has Little Durk as his cousin, rapper Little Durk, and he's there. They're hanging out. It seems like Little Durk is playing a drug dealer because he tries to get into one of the other cousins' faces when they're like talking about the drug game and stuff like that, and talking all loud and shit. We have a nice little moment with Drew and Diana, which they kind of like, Drew going to prison and working with Carter. They haven't had a lot of like interactions with each other in this second half of the season, but they have a nice little moment where Drew is like, I'm worried about you, Diana. And she's like, when I'm in class, I'm thinking about the streets. When I'm on the streets, I'm thinking about school. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know where my head's at. And then with Drew, he says that basically the art curator that he met earlier, I think in part 1, has told him that there's like a fellowship in Paris that he's talented enough to be part of. So Is he gonna be able to go to that, or are they just putting out there his dream? That's just he's gonna be reaching for it, and he's gonna come up short. I don't know how that's.
Everyone's got future options, haven't they? Everyone's got something to aim for, to go to live for after episode 10. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens there, but that leads to them. They taking shots and stuff like that. Then they're at the bar. They're sitting with each other. Kane is talking shit to Drew again when Diana says, "Oh well, here comes your mistress," and it's Effie. Effie shows up. Effie shows up and is talking to Kane, and Diana and Drew are listening, and she says, like, what happened with the drop? He was like, it's the same as always. She was like, no, it's not. Vadim and the Russians said that Noma sent them to Staten Island for the drop, and that's when they like are a little like, because Diana had called Aunt Janet and asked where Monet is at, checking on Monet. He wanted to check on her. And she said that, I don't know where she's at. Noma told her to do something in Staten Island. And then when they hear the Staten Island with the Russians, they're like, wait.
Yeah.
So Monet and the Russians going to be in Staten Island. And then earlier in the episode, we also saw Drew. He was picking up some money from a couple of Carter's guys, and they had said, oh, well, I thought you were supposed to be Carter's number 2 guy or main guy. So are we supposed to, give our money to the other guy? He was like, who's the other guy? Well, Tariq. Carter sent him to Staten Island to take care of something for him. So they put 1 and 2 together, and they realized this is a setup. So they go and they're about to pull the rescue. I liked how they planned that out, where they gave you all the tidbits of how everybody would know that this is all a setup. How did you like how that came together?
Oh yeah. I mean, the way they put it together was really clever. Usually, I'm quite, because I love Power, but sometimes I do watch it and I roll my eyes a bit because it's so absurd, really. But in this instance, I actually thought it was really good. For everyone got a piece of information, then everyone put it together and worked out. Well, I say everyone, the 2 of them got the information, they worked out and put it together. But I mean, Effie coming in, because I love Effie. I love Effie. I just I'm very, how do I say it? I'm really invested in the Effie character. I really am. And I'm really curious as to the whole thing with her and Kane. Because, she comes in and he immediately leaves with her. But I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I really need to see what's going on here, because I do want Effie. If there is a spin-off, I definitely think that she should be a part of it. I think that she should be. And you notice she's got... her school is in LA. It was California. Where was it?
Yeah.
California. Sorry.
So I think it's like Southern California. I think it's not LA exactly, but we've been hearing so much. Remember when Tommy at the end
That's what I was going to say.
Regular Power? Yeah, he was supposed to go to California.
He was going to. He stopped in Chicago, and he seems to have stayed there for the last couple of years. But I mean, wouldn't it be great if that was the next spin-off? If everyone went to California and they all met up there. I don't know, but it's so much. That's the thing I love about Power. Yeah, there's so much characters I'm invested in, and the options are unlimited. There are so many options here. You can go to book 10. You can give Kane a spin-off if you wanted to, because we're going to watch.
Yeah,
we're going to watch.
Absolutely. After this episode, like I said before, I wouldn't mind Kane being the one that's the head of the spinoff, because I thought this was like one of his best acting performances. And I would say out of season 4, he's the character that has been like basically written the best.
Yeah, I agree.
We got Power Driver Finisher in the chat. He says, I was confused by this part. Probably wasn't paying attention. I was like, wait, y'all just shot at each other and then just have a casual convo after murdering dudes. I think he's talking about Drew and Diana basically trying to get Monet killed. But I think that we've seen them like trying to put the family back together. And I think they have seen that Monet is actually putting in an effort.
She's trying. Yeah, she's trying.
Yeah. So I think that is the whole reason why. So we see Tariq and Monet meeting up at the music party in Staten Island and realizing that they've been set up. when the Russians pull up on them. They got the drop on them. They tell them to get on their knees, put down their guns, and they are about to shoot them. But they talk too much shit long enough for Drew and Diana to pull up on them. I love Diana got the piece and she's like, pop, 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 pop.
What is going on here? Where did this come from? All of a sudden, she's learned how to shoot. She can dodge bullets. Looking at the end, she's I don't know. All of a sudden, she's gone to some sort of military training. She can handle multiple different guns as well. It's not this one gun. She can seem to shoot with multiple guns. And like I said, she's evasive now. She's elusive. She's she's dodging bullets and stuff. I love it. I will say, you know what? Because this is my first time here, and I've got a lot to say about certain people. Isn't it amazing that Drew survived all these seasons, though? Because I don't know. I would have been fine with him dying in episode like 3, if I'm honest with you. Do you remember when he got shot? He got shot in the bar, the dive bar.
Yes.
And he survived. But I would have been fine if he croaked then. And it's like, here we are, 40 episodes in next week, and he's still hanging on. And I'm sure he's a lovely man. I'm sure he's a nice guy. And at times I think that he's actually really good. But it's something about him that doesn't connect with me. And I don't know if it's the way he looks, and I don't know, he looks like a nice guy maybe. So I don't know if I connect with Drew the way I should, like I connect with all the other characters. I don't know, but I'm surviving and everything. But I'm just surprised that he's still there hanging on, you know.
I honestly, I made the look like this because I was like, man, I don't think he should have survived season 4, episode 1, when he fucking got hit by the car, and then how is he able to dodge bullets when you're limping? Is Tariq that bad of a shot?
Tariq is not. I don't even know about Tariq anymore after this episode. If I'm honest with you, just everyone talks too much in power. Well, I mean, we know that anyway. But this episode was like the red beacon of examples here. Everyone is someone right where they want them, and they just talk too fucking much. Just stop talking. Just get shooting. You know.
Yeah, just shoot them. Just shoot them and ask questions later. So they realize that they've been played. They also realized that Noma and Carter likely believed they were dead, which brought Monet and Tariq time to think. So they put the Russians in Monet's car. They light it on fire. So they think that they found 2 bodies, and it's going to take them a while for forensics to realize who the people are. The pair basically come up with a plan. You have another nice moment, which I was like, all right, this is 2. This is Monet having amends with all of her kids now, because they have the nice moment in the hotel room where Monet is like, you guys are adults now, so it's up to y'all if y'all want to, help me with this. But, I have to take out Noma and Carter now. If they're working together and they're trying to kill us, we got to take them out before they take us out. So you have the choice to help me, or I could do this on my own. And Diana's like, I'm in. She's been trying to make amends with Monet ever since last season when she got her shot by Tasha. And then with Drew, it was like he had a real choice, because he's working with Carter, but he's like, no, I'm gonna put family first. I'm gonna help you, Mom. And they have like the next little moment where they hug together, and that was the second clue. I was like, something's gonna go wrong. I was like, either one of these kids gonna die, or Monet's gotta die. I was like, please be Drew. Please be Drew. But yeah, so that nice little moment, and then they meet up with Davis and Tariq, and they devise a plan to take out Noma and Carter on Noma's wedding day. Drew gives them the drop on Carter that he always has confession at this time, 4:00 on Saturday, so you can get him there. That's the best time where he's all alone, and you're gonna need to kind of take out. There's security cameras and security there, so you're gonna have to take care of that. And they bring up Effie, and they're like, "Oh, Effie can take care of the film and all that, the computer."
My phone.
Your phone. Say hi. Say hi, Knowledge.
Hello.
Hi, Knowledge. Please have my
Hi.
dad's phone.
You stole my phone.
Hello.
She stole my phone. But
It's good that you can give it to her and there's nothing in it.
absolutely. So
I
they
can
say,
my phone. I'm like, shit. Give me the phone back.
Delete. So there's like Effie could take care of that, and you're gonna also need, Braden's help with this. He's like, you're gonna need your white boy, and he was like, nah, I can't rely on him. He's basically like, this dude's drugged out. Like, we tried to do something for him, he can't do it. He's like, you're gonna have to put that aside. You're gonna have to ask for their help. And they determined that they're gonna take out Noma, but they want to do it on the wedding day. But Monet's very adamant. She was like, Kane can't be next to her. Kane's gonna be right there. It was like, so how about at the hotel? It was like, Kane's still gonna be there. You can't do that. She was very adamant. Kane can't be involved in any of this. So they basically get Diane. They plan on Diana basically distracting Kane, talking about mom, pull him away so that Drew can take care of her in the hotel room. So they devise this whole plan. Then we see Tariq meeting up with Effie and Braden. Braden, man, I will say, for everything that he's done wrong in this season, he's always a ride or die. He gave him the plan, and he was at first he was hesitant, but then he was like, "Nah, fuck it. You help me with L, I'm gonna help you." I was like, "That's a nigga. That white boy's a nigga." I was like, "Yes, that's what's up."
Yeah, as much as he's been a fuck up this season, he's so reliable, isn't he? He's always there. I'll give him that. Even though Tariq doesn't seem to tell him half of the stuff he's supposed to. Ghost and Tommy had this relationship, and now it's Tariq and Braden where they have conversations, and Tariq seems to tell him half of the information, and he doesn't seem to tell him anything else. So this is absolutely bizarre. Because if I was in business with someone and all this was going on, I'd tell them everything, just so that they're aware and that they know. If someone was trying to kill me, I wouldn't. Tariq will be in a shootout, and you'll go and you'll see Braden back at the door, and he won't even mention it. He'd be like, "Yeah, let's keep talk about something else."
And then when Braden wants to tell him shit, he don't listen.
He doesn't want to listen. He's just too busy. He's got his own shit going on. What a shit friend. Tariq and Jamie St. Patrick were this horrible friends, weren't they? It's like they were just horrendous people. I mean, they're loyal to an extent. I'll get kind of loyal. Their loyalty is it's making sure that someone else doesn't get hurt or die. I'll give them that. But as far as telling someone the truth and all the relevant information, never. And there's always, I mean, Jamie loved Angela, to be fair. I mean, he really did. I don't know who Tariq's Angela is out of all these three women that he's had relationships with. He doesn't seem to have one. I'm not sure. I think he liked Lauren. He did like Lauren, didn't he? He liked Lauren. I always thought Effie was the one for Tariq, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't know.
She's turned on him too many times. Like
it's too many times. Way too many times. I mean, no one's perfect though. SP3. I mean, you got to take the rough with the smooth sometimes.
Yeah, this is true. And he's gotten closer with Diana this season, but they basically convince Effie to be a part of this because she wants her way out, and that is connected to her scene earlier in the episode after she met up with Kane at the bar. They had a nice little loving sexual experience. It was very sensual, very nice and stuff. Yeah. And I love that they played that at the same time that we're seeing rough sex between Davis and Noma.
Oh my goodness. She had her hands all in his face. She was choking him. He wasn't doing that to her. I mean, he ain't got the balls for that. But I mean, yeah, she was handling him, boy. Do you know what the funny thing is? Because I was watching that and I was thinking, because there was a shot of her on top of him and she was making these faces and, as you do. But I was thinking to myself, imagine actually filming that and having to, you'd feel like a right knob, wouldn't you? I mean, just leaning into the camera going, ooh, I don't know how I'd feel about doing that. I feel like the biggest dickhead in the world doing that. But good on her, actors and actresses, they've got no shame. Anyway.
Exactly. No shame in the game. So they have this whole.
Sorry, go on. It's not important.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, going back to what I mentioned earlier on about Kane and his the affection that he seems to have for Effie. The sex scene that they had really encompassed all of that. The fact that the contrast between the two actions, I guess you could say, the two sessions that were going on. We saw the sensuality between Kane and Effie compared to whatever was going on with Davis and Noma.
It was just sex. It was sex. It felt like Kane and Effie were making love. Well, these
Making
two
love,
just,
The other
were
two were
just
fucking.
having they were just fucking. They were just fucking.
Hang on, my dogs are being dicks. Give me a second.
No worries, no worries. I'll talk to the people watching. We get the nice little moment with Kane and Effie, where basically Kane's like saying like, I want to, the reason why he's marrying Noma is because he wants to be the boss of this whole thing. He wants to be the Frank Lucas, the Nicky Barnes. I love that we finally hear like his perspective on that. Like what's his why for all of this, and that he wants to be one of the most known drug lords of all time. And I love Effie's responses. How did they wind up? And his response is immortal. Immortal. He was like, you want to do your robot shit, and I don't understand that. If this don't make sense to you, just let me do my shit. I love that.
And she was like, yeah, true. Just, it made sense. I was like, he wanted to be Bumpy Johnson or Frank Lucas. He said Nicky Barnes. Just like, fair enough, mate. But all right, whatever.
This is the way. This is the way. But Effie's like, she wants her way out, but he's like, I gotta tell you, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna be, the American face of the company, but it's still Noma's business. So there ain't no way out of this game. You know that already. And she's all upset. So that's what makes her make the decision with Tariq and Braden to actually be a part of this plan, because getting rid of Noma is the best way for her to get her way out of the game so she can go to California. And even Tariq basically threatens her, like, Prashanda's ready to tell everybody you're on your way to California. And you didn't need to say that. That is going to happen. Like, Prashanda is the biggest snitch in this show.
Yeah. Good point.
She never heard a secret she didn't immediately tell 5 people the same thing.
But people still tell her anyway. I don't know. She must be really comforting because everyone tells her their business anyway. Oh, promise me you won't say anything. Oh, go. Fuck out of here. People don't learn.
And this is a good point by Dexter Cumberbatch. He says, I can't believe they wasted Tasha shooting Monet. She never found out. She never found out that it was Tasha.
She never knew. That's a good point.
Never knew it was Tasha. Tasha got nothing to fear. She can get out of witness protection. She good now.
Yeah, everyone's dead. I don't even know why she's in witness protection anymore. Everyone's dead.
She's all good with Tommy. Like, there's no reason for her to be in witness protection anymore.
What does she do? What does Notori do outside of this show? Is she on something else that I don't know about?
I think she was on like some show. I think it was on like ABC or something.
The one with Eve. She was in that, wasn't she? The show with Eve.
Yeah.
Was in. Yeah. That was one season though, right? I don't know if there's anything else. I was just curious because if she's not doing anything, they might as well bring her back as well. Why not? We know her. Yeah. We're comfortable with that character, aren't we? We don't mind her.
Unless you're going to do the spinoff with Tariq still as the star, like, you should at least have her in episode 10 to finish off this. Episode 10 should finish off the St. Patrick story. If the plan is not for Tariq to be a part of the spinoff, you have to close the door on the entire St. Patrick family, the St. Patrick chapter of Power.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 plans that are going on there. Then we also, get Davis talking to Noma about she's gonna need to sign some paperwork and whatnot and stuff like that. I love the scene. The scene that we didn't mention before the whole devising of a plan happened with the Tejadas, Tariq, and Davis is Davis meeting up with Tariq after they tried to kill him, and he just has the biggest bitch fit. Oh my God. I literally am watching this and I'm like, I can't believe they did this to my boy. They did this. He sound like a whole bitch. I'm Tariq St. Patrick. I killed my father. They think that I won't kill these motherfuckers. Well, go out and kill them then, nigga. What the fuck are you doing?
Do you know what the funny thing about that whole thing is that he was running up his mouth. He was talking all this game. And then in about 10 minutes' time, he had an opportunity to solidify everything he said. And he proved to us once again that really, he's just a cunt. He's just so insignificant, really. You know, we want so much for Tariq, don't we? We really want him to be his dad sometimes, just handle stuff, and he's just not capable to. But you know what? He killed Angela's nephew. Do you remember? He seemed to do that all right. He was right there. Right in front of him. He didn't move, so he just shot him, and he was out the way. He was, and Carter, he was just too much. Anyway, we ain't even got there. Sorry.
We were about to get to that.
Dexter's right. It was cringy.
Oh, it was so cringe. It was so cringe. But let's just get to it with Carter. So we see. Oh, one of the things that Tariq told Braden during the game plan, he was like, "I'm gonna need you to not do any drugs," and you could tell by the way that Braden responded, this nigga was gonna do drugs. You knew by the way. He's like, "Yeah, no, yeah, all right, man, no problem." He like rolled his eyes and everything. So. They take care of the security guard easy. Effie just pulls up on him, stun gun to the neck. He's out.
That came out of nowhere. We saw that security guard for like a second, and all of a sudden he was just sleeping. It's like, oh, just like that. That scene started, and he was out of the way, and she just moved him out of the way and sat down in his chair. Lovely. Get straight to the point. I loved it.
Yeah. Braden was like, he told the people that were in the church that they had bed bugs and they got the hell up out of there. And he knocked out the priest for an hour or two at least. And while Effie is looking at the security cameras and turning off the recording device, he's back here like,
oh my God.
She's like, nigga, you just got here. He was like, man, I gotta get the edge on. And he was like, didn't Tariq tell you that? He was like, Tariq says a lot of things. That was the most Tommy response he has given in 4 seasons.
Yeah, good.
Oh, so he's doing that. They're watching as Carter goes to the second to last pew, like Drew told them. Mm-hmm. He goes in there. We see Tariq. He's getting the gun all the way. He's got the silencer on. He pulls up out and he pulls the gun on him, pulls him out of the pew. But Carter's like, oh man. He was like, yeah, you got me. You got me in the church, man. You're going to hell for pulling the gun on me in church. But he was like, oh man, this is good. He was like, yeah, because I got you on video killing Zion. And he's like, what? He was like, yeah, so I got the camera and everything. And then Carter just easily shakes off Tariq's attack. He cuffs him, tosses it easy. He's pulling him out of the church as he cuffed him already. The FBI and Braden just looking at this like, this nigga here. And then this whole plan is ruined from there. Because
it's useless.
He immediately calls... He immediately calls Noma to let her know after she's done her own nuptials. They went through that wedding quick. They showed us freaking Kane writing his nuptials after Noma met with Carter, and they're talking about how the Russians did their job too good. They burned the body, so we won't know if it's Tariq and Monet for sure. And she tells he's writing his his vows or whatever, and she's like, oh, your mother's pulling the same tricks. He's not going to be at the wedding, and don't call her. I was like, this nigga got to be an idiot. Why wouldn't you call your mother after she said some shit like that?
Well, he's too busy writing them bloody nuptials or whatever, trying to write some nonsense with throwing paper everywhere. His floor looked like Dave Meltzer's office. Remember that? Fucking just throwing paper all over the place. And Tariq was just absolutely useless. I was watching it and I was like, can you imagine being that feckless? Could you imagine being that useless? Just so easy. It was like taking candy from a baby. There's the way Carter took that gun from him. They literally are the gang that can't shoot straight. They're absolutely useless, these lot.
Yo, I was just like, this is embarrassing, yo. Like
embarrassing.
I was like so embarrassed for him. So yeah, he lets him know that Monet and Tariq are very much alive. So Noma goes to her brother and was like, if you see Kane's mother, shoot her on sight. Don't ask any questions. before Carter can get too far with Tariq, though, Braden and Effie, they run them down. He gets in his car. Coked up Braden says, "Hey, the best way to do this is just drive next to him and bump the car." I don't know how Carter survived that shit, because that front, the back of that truck went right into the window. Like, I'm like, how did that not kill him?
His lip was bleeding.
He had a cut on the side of his head and his lip was bleeding. I was like,
Monet was at the church. Monet was there. Monet was outside.
No. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Oh shit! So they came out and they were like, "Oh, this has happened." And remember, they know that he called Noma, so she knows. And that's when Monet was like, "Okay, I need to get back there." Keep that in mind, though. I remember I said that.
Yeah,
that's what she said. She says, "I've got to go and rescue my son." She said that. She got in the car and she drove off while Effie and Braden chased down Carter, who had Tariq in the back seat of that car. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so rammed him in. So when Carter and Tariq finally wake up, Braden has tied him to a chair, and Carter basically asks him, "What you gonna do now?" And that's basically the end of that whole B plot. And I was just like, Tariq, you done earned yourself LVP for this episode.
100%. Braden and Effie fixed that one for him though. That could have been nasty. They brought it back for him.
Oh, I was so disappointed. So yeah, you were right. Like, they told Monet that Noma knows, so she goes to the wedding reception. Back at the wedding reception, Noma uses her first dance as Mrs. King Tejada to demand that her new husband choose once and for all his mother or Noma and her organization. When he doesn't disavow his family, she starts showing him and has him removed and restrained by her brother. While we see Drew and Diana, they're pulled off by the goons. We see the cousins, little Dirk and them, they're pulled off by the goons. Simultaneously, they're hauled out of the party.
While dancing, by the way. Noma did this while she did all that while dancing. Oh, what a threat, eh? My people have taken your family whilst he's just dancing hypnotically in front of him. Anyway.
He's like, "Oh, I'm so distracted. I don't know what to do. Should I consummate the marriage or should I help my family?" Oh, but
that skin's great, isn't it, Noma? Noma's skin is fantastic. I just want to put that out there because I remember every time I see her, I'm like, fucking hell, her skin, she must fucking bathe in, I don't know, God's spit. I don't know. Again,
God spit in cocoa butter.
Like, fantastic.
So Mama Tejada, Monet pulls up on everybody. She's got the guns ablazing. She saves Drew and Diana by shooting the henchmen.
No. Hold on. I gotta stop you there. The thing that stood out to me the most throughout this whole episode was the last time we saw Monet at the church. She said she was going to get her son. She's going to rescue her son. It was daytime. She shows up at nighttime and she's got an entirely different outfit and a different wig on. She went home to change her outfit to get ready for the wedding and she changed her wig. Do you know how long that takes? I actually like the idea of her going to a place to get the wig sorted out, but maybe she just went home. Maybe she's an expert. I don't know. She looks like the type of person that could put a wig on.
Could have done it in the car. She was waiting out there.
She had different boots on too. She went to rescue her son in thigh-high boots. But anyway, but she shows up and I'm like, she wearing a different outfit, and I was like, she wasn't wearing that at the church. She had a different wig on, and she's got a silencer as well, just like Tariq, but unlike Tariq, she's not a failure, and she comes confident out there. And, yeah, she's good. And she rescued Drew and Diana from getting into the car with Noma's henchmen. Anyway, sorry, take over.
So yeah, they basically come up with the plan. She basically wants to save her kids. She's like, y'all don't have to go in there. I'm gonna go save Kane. But they're like, nah, we got you, Mom. They take their guns. They said we'll go through the back, you go through the side. So And then this is one of the best scenes that's ever been done in Power Book 2 Ghosts because they hit
Right.
Hail Mary.
Yes. She snuck up on that dude while Hail Mary was playing, and he fell into the water. He fell into that little teeny weeny bit of water. It was awesome.
I literally was on the edge of my seat at this point, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, go. While that's happening, she's shooting them. We also go back to Noma, who's got Kane all tied up to a chair with her brother and the goons there. And she's like, you need to choose once and for all. You need to choose me over your mother. And she was like, what are you even talking about? She was like, she's trying to destroy me. She's trying to take me out. And he was like, you can have it all with me. And Noma is just about to murder her new husband, basically. And he's like, I'm not going to choose you. He was like, Monet. He was like, he said this was a great monologue. He was like, being a black kid in the hood is treacherous. And he was like, there's a lot of people that don't make it to where I am, and I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for Monet. So I'll never, he even does the stutter. I'll never turn on my
She was
mother.
outside. She heard it too. Remember?
Yeah.
She was outside with one of these jabrones. She was out there with a gun to this jabrone's head. She was about to use him as a human shield, and she heard all of that. So that was the last thing that she heard before she got marked off or whatever. Fabulous television. Anyway, excuse me. Go ahead, please.
So good. Because we see, as Noma's talking, we're seeing her just taking out all the dudes. Yeah. She's like,
oh, she got the guy come down the stairs. Do you remember Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop when he goes to Victor Maitland's house? That's immediately what I thought of when the guy comes down the stairs and Axel Foley's just like, bam, just shoots a nigga and he falls down the stairs or whatever. Like Monet was this in thigh-high boots, mind you, SP3. She fucking burst into that mansion and she was just blowing niggas away. And like grown-ass men with automatics. And she was handling shit. But I will say this. Noma is telling Kane, you need to pick me or you need to pick your mother while he's tied up and he's got guns at him. And you're not making it easy, you know? It's obvious who I'm going to pick. Come on now, love. What do you think this is? I'll pick anyone else except for you right now, for fuck's sake. Anyway,
it was like my mother done talked down to me and everything. She ain't never do this though.
She's never done that. Yeah, I mean, he did get beat up when he went to see Lorenzo in jail or whatever, and she kind of let that happen. But it's a little ass whooping. He's all right. He's a tough guy. He'd be all right.
So yeah, they had Hail Mary players. She's shooting everybody. She gets the last guy. She pulls the gun to his head, and like you said, she's listening as Kane does that great monologue. And she finally bursts into the room. She uses him as a human shield, and she's shooting the goons. He takes out a few of them. We get Kane. He gets knocked over while still being tied up. And he's watching this whole melee get down. And after Monet basically is behind the wall as they're shooting back at her, we hear Noma saying, okay, he's down. Shoot him. And that's when she's like, no, I ain't letting that happen. She comes up. She's got two guns. She got the guy that was her shield's gun and her gun. And she's just shooting all of them. She shoots a couple of them, but Noma and her brother blast her, shoot her right in the chest. And she falls to the ground bleeding. Kane was the one that really got it. Was between Kane and Monet's final line. Like Kane screaming, like, wait. And he's like crying and sobbing as she's just down, and you can see the life leaving her body. But before she goes, she's like, my babies.
I'm sorry, that's good.
Drew and Diana, they come in, they finish off the rest of the gunmen and rush to her side, but it's too late. Monet is dead.
And it fades to black while we hear them screaming.
Ma!
Yeah, there you go, Ma. As the camera fades to black. Now that's fucking cinema. None of this other bullshit out here. I mean, that was just. I wish I hadn't got that spoiled for me. I really do.
I wish you didn't too,
mate.
Because I I try to avoid all social media and the YouTube channels that I usually watch before I watch the episode. And watching that, I was just like, I had tears in my eye. Not a tear didn't come out, but I had the tears in my eye. I was like,
Mm.
I'm hold it in. I'm gonna hold it in because we still got one more episode. We still got one more episode.
One more episode. One big question I've got to ask, though, and I'm curious about. What happened to Ice? Because they were at the wedding, do you remember? Because we kept hearing throughout the whole wedding, make sure it looks good for Ice. Make sure. So, this shootout breaks out at the wedding. I wonder what they thought about all this as all this was happening. Anyway, well, I guess we'll find out next week if something happens there. If she gets deported, I don't know. But yeah, next week's episode. Oh, and the preview for next week, they don't give us much, but we do know that it's an action-packed. And I hope it's a longer episode too. I hope we get an extra half an hour or something, because there's a lot to wrap up here. A lot to wrap up.
Yeah, it is definitely because we got Tariq has Carter, Tariq, Braden, and Effie got Carter tied up. You got to think the Tejada kids are out for revenge on Noma at this point.
We saw Kane looking at himself in the mirror. He had his black he's all in black with his black do-rag on. So some madness is going to happen next week. We've got he's going to kill Noma next week. He's got to kill Noma. Whether she might kill him too. They might, I don't know. We don't know if he's going to make it out alive. And we don't know who's going to make it out alive next week. We do know that Tariq is most likely going to survive because I don't see him dying because I don't know. We need a spin-off, and I think the potential for him and Tommy to have something to keep that going, I think the potential's there. I think it would be silly to kill him off, and Braden for that matter as well.
Do you think that we get Tommy on next week's show?
Do we get Tommy on next week's show? I'm always happy to see Tommy. I mean,
same.
He could. And I mean, that's someone that could take down Carter because those goofs can't. those jabrones can't handle Carter. He's probably untying himself right now. From that chair. For all we know, he will get up. The episode will start next week, and he'll just stand up. Kick the ropes away or whatever. I hope that Tariq calls Tommy or something. Although in book 2, Tommy just seems to pop up, doesn't he? Every so often, no one calls him. He just pops up. It's like he's got a. Yeah. It's like there's a bat signal. He just shows up.
I think it's Tariq calling Tasha for advice, and Tasha hanging up with Tariq and being like, "Tommy, your nephew needs you."
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, well, we did see Tasha a couple of weeks ago where she was concerned about Tariq. You remember, because there was a lot going on. Maybe a call. We'll find out. I don't know, but I'm really, really excited for next week. I've got all these days to wait for this episode. I'm actually going to watch it in the morning on Friday, I think, for this next episode. There's just so much different ways this can go. It's just such great television.
It is. I love this comment by Power Driver Finisher who says, she really said to be caught dead in this wig? Nuh-uh.
She changed the wig. It was daylight. It was daylight when we last saw her, and then she showed up at nighttime. She was away for a good couple hours, man. She came out with a full outfit, changed her thigh-high boots, and she laid a new wig on. Like, she was not playing. She came out like John Wick with those guns. She wasn't fucking around, boy. I tell you that shit.
She was not fucking around. Oh man. He said Drew and Diana reaction was awesome.
It was.
We got Dion who says Kane gotta get Noma next episode. Agreed
there. Yeah.
Valabi says R.I.P. Monet, worst mom on TV.
Not in that episode, mate.
No, she went out as the best mom on TV.
Yeah, forget the other 39 episodes. She redeemed herself.
Let it go. What is your favorite Monet Tejada memory from 4 seasons of Power Book 2 Ghost?
The first one that pops into my mind is when first season she was in bed with Officer Ramirez, and I've never seen someone look so uncomfortable laying next to a man before. Like, she had the blanket, she had this this cover, this up to her neck, and she was like a mummy, you know. She's like a mummy, and she was talking to this man after having sex, mind you, and she just was just laying there. She's just the most Monet / Mary J. Blige. She is just the most. She just comes across as the most uncaring, cold woman. Even when she was conflicted about being in love with Mecca in season 2, and we just never got that. She's just so cold. She's just such a cold woman. She's perfect for that character, though, Mary J. Blige, absolutely. But that is actually my favorite moment. There's also scenes where she was sitting next to Mecca, and they were supposed to be somewhat loving, and he was really into it, but she just, I don't know. Those are actually my favorite Monet moments, is when she just seems to be really uncomfortable. Those are the ones that always pop up to me. But there's probably others too, where, like, you know, when she killed the workman at the bar. Do you remember when she took the workman out and she killed him by the docks because she thought he stole the money from the safe, but it was really Diana who stole the money to pay? That's another one. So you really killed that man over this? You really killed? And then I remember she told Diana, she's like, "Oh, you know, I killed the guy over this." And then she's like, "I didn't ask you to do that." It was just like, death is just so common in these shows. It's like, I didn't ask you to do any of that. What is your favorite moment?
My favorite the immediate one that comes to mind is her killing Mecca. And Mecca saying, "You would really do this to Zeke?" He was like, "He'll get over it." That response. That
was great.
Hilarious. Her response to Diana telling her secrets and wanting to jump over the table and attack Diana during the dinner from hell. Yeah. That was just fantastic acting.
Because it's Diana's fault, you know. It's all Diana's fault that you've done all this.
Killing Professor Milgram, because I was like, that bitch gotta go. And I was like, that was one of my most satisfying kills.
Remind me, did she kill Professor Milgram?
Yes,
or did she kill herself?
And then, no. She killed her and made it look like she killed herself.
Okay, I don't remember. Okay,
yeah.
Because remember we saw her. I remember we saw her and she was like, you know, with you around, Zeke will never come back to me. Then we saw her hung. So yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, all right, cool. That was a good one.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Professor Milgram was all right in the first season, and then she came back. And remember, she was just a bit of a bitch when she was trying to get Lauren to she was trying to get Lauren to wear the wire, and she was being really deceptive. Remember all that?
Yeah. And then just overall, her relationship with both Tariq and Kane. I think those are like the scenes that I'll remember the most. Like her telling Tariq, when Tariq was all conflicted when he found out that Effie and Braden had lied to him and he wasn't talking, and she was like, "You're my thinker. I need you to think." Like, I love that. And I love that they called that back in that scene when they were devising the plan.
I know your big head got an idea.
Yeah. Your big head got an idea. That's great. And then just her, the scene I remember the most with her and Kane is when she had to convince Kane to kill Lorenzo. And she said, "Man, where's Tariq when I need him?" She was like, "Man, that soft ass nigga can't do anything." And she says, "Well, he killed his father." And then Kane said, "He did? All right, I'll do it."
Do you remember when she had Tommy at gunpoint in episode 10 of season 1? Do you remember when
yes.
Tommy had come to kill Tariq, and all of a sudden she came out of nowhere and she had Tommy at gunpoint? And I remember thinking, Tommy's met his match here, because he just backed off, didn't he? It was it. And then he left for 2 years and we never saw him again. That was another one. What a great character Monet Tejada was. She was just such a quite unlikable, cold, dishonest, but at the same time, really engaging. It's a really it was such an engaging character. And she's got that sister, Golden Brooks, who's a delightful woman as well. You know, hopefully we see her next week as well. You know, at Monet's funeral, most likely. I don't know. But great
character. Yeah,
just like all of the Tejadas, I think, throughout the whole 4 seasons of. I mean, when they first come on, you know, you don't know them, so you're a bit like, okay, what's going on here? But over time, this a really, really great family to have on the show.
Yeah, definitely a great addition to like the St. Patrick's, the Thomases, the Tejadas. They're that's your 3 of your Mount Rushmore of power families, and the
What?
Egan's now.
The Egans, yeah.
Oh man, what a episode! What a character for Monet Tejada. We'll of course be talking more about Monet when Chrissy is back with us next week, and you're more than welcome to join us for the finale as well. Now
I'm curious, SP3, while we're here, where are we going with all this? Let's have a chat before we head out. Where are we going here? We've got episode 10, and then after episode 10, what is happening? What other outcomes potentially have we got to lead us to more power in the future? Because, you know, I've got to have my power. I'm really looking forward to what is next, by the way. What's coming up next?
I think that they have really set up where we could have as many as 1 to 3 different spinoffs.
So who have we got?
Like
we know
Tariq,
that Ghost and Tommy, young Ghost and Tommy is coming at some point. We know that one, which confused me. I remember us talking about this because I was like, that should really just be Raising Kanan. Like, and shouldn't it really? Raising Kanan should just keep going. And when we haven't even met them yet. So I always thought that that's where that was going, but obviously not.
We haven't even met Breeze yet.
We haven't met. We don't know who Breeze is. You go online and people are speculating that Joey Badass is Breeze and he's not going to be unique now. He's alive. I don't know. We haven't met Breeze yet. That's a good point. That show, that's my favorite one, by the way. I love Power Book 3. That's my favorite.
That's coming back in October, so we don't even have to wait too long for that.
Oh yeah, I don't got time to wait. You know, I don't have time for any of this. I actually find myself just putting old seasons on and just leaving them throughout my work day. The TV I've got behind me, I sit at this table and I'm on my work laptop and I've got Power on in the background sometimes. Not BMF. I don't like BMF. I think that show. I watch it, but you know, I think
it's so bad. Once they got rid of Lamar was the glue.
Yeah,
Lamar was the best character on that show, and they got rid of him. And the last season was trash.
Garbage. Absolutely.
There was a couple of good episodes, but overall, it was trash.
A horrible show. And you know what the worst thing is, mate? Is that when the first episode of the next season pops up, I'll be right there watching it, thinking to myself, man, this is shit. But yeah, next week I'll be saying, this is shit. And I'm invested now. What can I say? But yeah, so we got young Ghost and Tommy, right? Fine. So from this iteration of Power Book 2, where are we going with it after next week? Potentially.
So I think I've been saying it for pretty much this whole season. Tariq and Tommy as its own series, because Force is ending. You put those two together and they're running New York, maybe with some connection to Rashad Tate, like that be the 3 characters you base a whole series on, because Rashad Tate can help them with the politics, and we can finally get Tariq to where Ghost was at, where he's a leader in his own organization, because he's just taking L's for 4 seasons. That's literally what Power Book 2 Ghost has been. It's been him taking L's and learning that his dad was right. Then you got Kane. Kane has basically developed himself into, especially with the speech that he gave Effie in this whole episode of him being the Nicky Barnes, where he gets rid of Noma and the prenup. Maybe Davis has put something in the prenup which says if she dies, he gets all her businesses. So he's got the big front and he can be the mogul. He could be the Ghost of his own series. It's the Tejadas or something. Power Book 2, Power Book 5, or Power Book 6, Tejadas or something like that. And then you got Effie. I said it last week, where Effie is the character that we know the least about. We finally got another family. Everyone else in this show or in this book and any other book, we know at least one of their family members.
Yeah.
Even someone who's a side character like Davis, we met his brother.
Met his
Like,
brother.
we didn't meet anyone that was a part of Effie's family, so there's much more of Effie's story that can be told. And Alice Capri has already said that this is not the end for her, and that she was very emotional when she found out at the end of the season that it's not the end of her character. So that might lead to her having her own
Really?
spinoff.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
her own spinoff in California. So I think they have those three directions where you could do, like I said, you could do all three of those as its own spinoff.
You could even do Kane and her as a
Yeah,
spin-off, potentially
together. Yeah,
going to LA, because you can keep the other lot in New York, and you could have those two go out to LA. You know, I know he wants to stay in New York, but you never know what's going to happen next week. Things might get crazy. He might have to leave. We don't know. What a great show with great characters, and we're also emotionally invested in these characters. We don't want any of this to end, and we just know that there's more great things to come. It's yeah, next week, mate. I'm there. I got I'm so on it next week. 100% locked in for real.
locked in. What? So finish off. So we kind of talked about those characters. What do you think is going to happen with Braden in this final episode?
Well, Braden's got a lot going on because he's got that girl who he's told he murdered that drug dealer, so that could come back to bite him in the arse. He's got a drug problem that means that he may fuck up next week as well. So that's an option for us as well. The whole thing with that girl and him confessing that he killed that guy, I don't think that's the end of this. And I think what you said earlier on in this show of potentially him getting arrested next week, that is something that I could see happening, and that could play out as we continue with the next show. That's something that they can continue, and he could be in jail, and they've got to try and somehow manage to get him out or something. And because all of them have been in jail. Tariq had a murder case in season 2, and Ghost and Tommy have both been indicted on all sorts of stuff, and it never works out. So now it's Miss Braden's turn, really, isn't it? I don't see why not. Yeah. But I can see that happening with Braden, but then also we've got Drew and Diana as well, who are quite prominent characters. And as much as I don't like, I don't dislike Drew. I'm just perplexed by him a lot of the time. But I mean, you could have them continue with Kane as a Tejada family, and they could go to LA to have a new. It's like if they did that, I'd be fine with it, because once again, familiar with the characters, I'm comfortable with them. If you want to put them in a new setting, that could be something that I'd definitely be interested. Could you imagine Kane going to California and have to, integrate with gangs?
Yeah,
with red and blue gangs. How fun would that be?
That would be fun.
Or even Latin gangs. How awesome would that be in LA? That would be great television. God, there's so many options here, mate. There's
so many directions this could go. And we didn't even mention the fact that maybe Noma doesn't die and she's able to escape. And they've been talking about it for years that they wanted to do like a spinoff in London, and you can get Noma. They did the biggest heel in the first book of Power was Tariq, and they made a whole spinoff off of him. So they could take another villain in Noma and make a spinoff with her in London.
I hadn't even thought of that. She could get out. She could go back. Remember, she doesn't marry Kane. It's a good chance that she's going to have to get out of the country, right? So she could go back to England, and that is really, really good. And then we could get 50 Cent's version of Top Boy or something like that, which would be quite interesting. God, once again, more options that we're talking about here, and watch none of this happen. None of it. We're hyping ourselves up. Yeah, she could do this. None of this is going to happen. She get killed next week.
Let us know in the chat, who was your MVP, your LVP out of 10. What did you give this show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. For me and Knowledge for Power Book 2 Go Season 4, Episode 9, Married to the Game. 3, 2, 1. I got to give this one a thumbs up. Definitely a thumbs up. Out of 10, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I think this was the best episode of Season 4. One of the best episodes ever for this series. What did you think? What do you give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 9, and it would have been a 10 for me if I hadn't had it spoiled. So I'm going to go a 9. But if it would have been a 10 for me, that's how much I really enjoyed this episode. If I didn't already know the finish.
I understand.
And
That's fair. That's
Demarcus
fair.
said
So you
10.
got Demarcus is a 10. He also said Braden is high and could spaz out and smoke Carter. I did see in the coming attraction he does pull a gun up on Carter, so we never know what's gonna happen with Braden at this one.
He could be cocked up and he could shoot Carter. Good point.
Yep. Who was your MVP for this episode?
It's got to be Monet, bruv. It's got to be Monet. She showed us that she was really she. All of a sudden, we think that she's this great mother now. You know, she's really redeemed herself in the viewer's eyes. You know, she went out on her shield for her children, and she not only that, she gave them options. She never gave them options before, and she came back to that wedding in a new wig and a new outfit. She managed to get all that done super quick. So you know, you got to give her the MVP of this episode. What do you think?
1000%. It's got to be Monet Tejada. Went out the perfect way. Finally redeemed herself. She's been trying to redeem herself as a mother all season, and she did it in her last moment in life.
That's right.
LVP, it's by far Tariq. This might be the biggest LVP of the season.
There's no one else that deserves it. And Braden, you know, took coke on a job. It should really be him, but no, it's Tariq. This could have all been over if you would have just took the shot. You open that, you pull back that curtain, you should have taken the shot. There's no cameras there, there's no nothing, but no, you had to talk, you had to pull him out and get your hands on that man. You had to fucking talk some shit, and now look at you. You know, look at you. You got taken into the back of the car. And you know what? Really, it's his fault that Monet's dead, because if he would have took the shot, well, then she wouldn't have known that no one wouldn't have known that Monet was alive. So I blame that on Terry. He is definitely the LVP of this episode for me.
She would have got the drop and everything. So this is definitely Tariq's fault. But that is it for this edition of our Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, reviews. I want to thank Knowledge for joining me today. I had so much fun talking about this episode with you. Well, and like I said, if you have it in your schedule, I know you're a busy man with work and everything. If you have it in your schedule to join us next week, we'd love to have you to talk about the final episode of Power Book 2 Ghost. But Knowledge, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and anything else you got going on.
You can follow me at Graps Knowledge on x.com these days. And if you have I get a lot of DMs from people asking me questions about pro wrestling history, and you can do that if you want. My DMs are open. Just message me and ask me anything you want. You can go back to Morris Siegel all the way back to the early 1900s. You can ask me questions about any of that, all the way up to Cowboy Bill Watts, Hulk Hogan, and who's the top guy, Kenny Omega, if you want. It's Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame season. If you're curious about that, you can hit me up and you can talk to me about that. I got my ballot yesterday, so I need to get in. I need to start locking down and doing some research on that. But yeah, you can get me at Graps Knowledge on Twitter.
Love it. This man is knowledgeable in all things wrestling and power. So definitely hit him up with that. And thank you guys. You guys were very active in the chat today. We appreciate that. And come back next week, as we're gonna talk about the ending of this story of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, Episode 10, End of an Era, and we'll see what's set up for the next era, the next book of Power. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/True Hill Heat. Best place to support us when we're not live here on the wrestling YouTube channel. Go over and check out the True Hill Heat flagship podcast from yesterday with myself, Mark Hoke from the Mark Hoke Show, as well as Professor Chris from the NWA podcast. Join me to talk about everything going on in the wrestling world, WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, and everything in between. And I will be live in about an hour or so. Give or take. I got some other things to do, but I'll try to get from an hour from now over on the wrestling channel for Collision Discourse reviewing last night's AEW Collision Grand Slam. So join me for that. But in the meantime, between time, you can check out all of our Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4 reviews, like Episode 6, Episode 7, and Episode 8 with me and Miss Chrissy Love reviewing everything that's going down so far. But for Knowledge, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, Episode 9, Married to the Game review. We are signing off until next time.